This is the host, and tonight we begin our journey through mythology with the tale of a star-crossed love, the story of the stolen stars. A long time ago, in a faraway land, there was a young man who tended his father's sheep. Every day he would take them out into the pastures to graze under the warm gaze of the sun, and every evening he would bring them back home as dusk fell upon the horizon. But this young man did not like tending his father's sheep. Oh! I know. What he really loved to do was lie down on the hillsides and stare up at the night sky, dreaming of the heavens and all of their mysteries. One evening, while he was laying there looking up at the stars, he saw something incredible, something that took his breath away. It was a maiden. She had skin as white as snow and hair like spun gold, and she descended from the sky in a chariot drawn by 8 magnificent white horses. As she passed by, the wind carried her sweet laughter to his ears, and he felt his heart skip a beat. But before he could even think of a way to speak to her, she was gone. And so it went for 3 nights. The young man would wait for her to appear, but each time she did, she only passed by and he never got the chance to say a word to her. And though he didn't know her name, he knew he loved her. So on the 4th night, when she appeared again, he decided he couldn't wait any longer. He would stop at nothing until he found a way to talk to her. He started out by running down the hill and calling out to her, "Hey, wait, I want to ask you a question." But the horses just reared up and reared around him until he fell flat on his face. Then, frustrated and determined, he ran home and grabbed a cloak and wrapped himself in it. Then he ran back out to the hilltop and hid behind a nearby tree, hoping that if he stayed perfectly still, she wouldn't see him. But alas, once again, the horses reared up and pawed the ground, making so much noise that the young man had to hide his face in his cloak. And though he waited for hours, she never came back. Disappointed and exhausted, he finally made his way home. Now, when he told his family what had happened, they were very worried for him. They knew that he had been spending a lot of time up on the hills lately, but they thought he was just enjoying the scenery or maybe even trying to court one of the local girls. So they tried to convince him that it wasn't a good idea to go back. Why would you want to try to speak to a goddess? You might get hurt. But he knew in his heart that he had to try. He waited patiently for the next night, and when the maiden appeared, he was ready for her. This time he went up onto the roof of his house, which was flat, and he waited, and when the horses approached, he jumped up and threw his cloak over the nearest one, hoping to trap her. But of course, it didn't work, and she cried out in surprise and fear. Then he heard her voice. "Oh, who are you? Why have you done this?" And he said, "I am merely a poor mortal man, and I want to know who you are and why you come here every night." And then he took off his cloak and revealed himself to her. And when she saw who it was, she said, "Ah, it is only a mortal. I am safe." And then she turned back to her horses and started to climb back up into her chariot. But he called out to her, "Wait, I want to know your name." And she stopped and said, "My name is Ella." And then she drove her chariot down low so that he could climb in. "Come with me, and I will show you the wonders of the heavens." And so he climbed in and sat between two of the horses. And as the horses flew up into the sky, they soared higher and higher above the clouds, until they were flying among the stars. And he marveled at the beauty of the heavens. When they landed, Elara turned to him and said, "Can you guess where we are?" And he said, "Where are we? Are we in heaven?" And she laughed and said, "Heaven is not a place, silly mortal. Heaven is wherever I am." And then she put her hand on his, and he felt a jolt of electricity shoot through his body. They spent the whole night together, exploring the heavens and getting to know each other. And as the sun began to rise, Elara knew it was time to go. She said goodbye to the young man and promised that she would visit him again the next night. And as she flew away, he watched her go, his heart filled with love for her. Every night after that, Elara would come down from the sky and spend the night with the young man. And he was the happiest he had ever been. He loved Elara more than anything in the world, and he couldn't imagine his life without her. But sadly, their time together was running out. Soon it would be time for her to return to the heavens, and he would be left behind on earth. And so when she came to him one night and told him that she had to leave, he was devastated. "What do you mean you're leaving? Where are you going?" And she said, "I have to go back to the heavens. I can't stay here with you forever." And then she leaned in and kissed him on the cheek. "I will never forget you, my love. Even if we are apart, our souls will always be connected." And with that, she got in her chariot and flew away. He stood there watching her go, his heart breaking. Then he turned and walked slowly away, his head down. Now, the gods up in Olympus were very unhappy that Elara had fallen in love with a mortal man. They had made it very clear to her that she was not allowed to have lovers, and yet here she was, sneaking around with a mortal and breaking the cosmic rules. And they were furious. Zeus, king of the gods, was especially angry. He had already struck the young man once with lightning for daring to touch Elara, and he was planning to strike him again. When Elara came back to Olympus, the other gods confronted her. "Elara, why have you brought shame on our family? We have told you time and time again that you are not allowed to have lovers. Yet here you are, bringing disgrace upon us all." And Elara tried to explain, "But I didn't mean for this to happen. I swear it." But Zeus cut her off. "That is no excuse. You have broken the cosmic rules, and you will pay the price." Then he grabbed a golden sickle and approached her. "By the power that be, I banish you from Olympus and forbid you from ever returning. And as for this mortal man, I banish him from the earth, so that he may never find you again." And with that, Zeus hurled the sickle and cut Elara's golden chariot in half. Then he turned to the young man and struck him with lightning, sending him flying through the air. Elara cried out, "No, please, I don't want him to die." And Zeus looked at her and said, "You may have defied me and disobeyed my laws, but I see that you truly love this man, so I will grant you one last chance." He turned back to the young man and said, "Though you are banished from the earth, I will allow you to return home, but only for one day, so that you and Elara can say your goodbyes." So the next morning, the young man woke up in his bed, and he was confused and scared. He didn't remember how he got home, but he knew that something had happened to him. He got out of bed and walked to the window, and when he looked up into the sky, he saw a bright star shining down on him, and he knew in his heart that it was Elara's chariot. She had become a star, and she was reaching out to him one last time. Then he remembered everything that had happened to him, and he ran outside and looked up at the sky and yelled, "Alara, my love, I will find you even if I have to search the heavens for eternity." And so Zeus kept his promise. The young man was allowed to live out his mortal life on Earth. But he never forgot Ilara. And he would often look up into the night sky and search for her star. And some say that when you look up into the night sky and see the Big Dipper constellation, that is Ilara's chariot, forever frozen in the sky as a reminder of the love that's shown against the cosmic rules. And that, dear friends, is the story of the stolen stars. If you enjoyed this episode, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you next time for more adventures through mythology.